Welcome again to the G Connect today. We'll be having a wonderful conversation as usual to look at the trending issues in economics, in politics, and in our environment. We'll be taking a lot of focal issues that has to do with empowerment, that has to do with acquisition, that has to do with INEC and the voters registration deadline. And there is no other better person to have this conversation other than the Group Managing Director of G Consulting International Services.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sai. Since we started this series, it's been very engaging, and the feedback has been very tremendous because, again, the analysis that we've been giving, people are really benefiting from it. The feedback we're getting is quite tremendous, and again, I think we're encouraged to talk about what is happening in the political economy, in the agri sector, and of course in the MSME space. Of course, you know that the MSME should be the driver of the economy.
Yes.
Today, the informal sector is very down, and we hope that we'll be able to get it up to start working appropriately so as to act as a backbone to the Nigerian economy.
Yeah, I think it's very important, especially in the agribusiness. It is projected that agriculture employs over 60% of the workforce in the country, and we would like to look at how has the MSMEs been able to tap into the agri sector, especially as it has to do with the technological advancement, the infusion of technology into agriculture, and how it has been able to support, because the fear has been that with the advent of technology, it's going to affect a lot of job creation.
Okay.
So how has it been?
Yeah, I mean, like Nigeria, we are like a slow starter in terms of technology adoption. We're a bit slow, but once we adopt, we fast track, and that's what I've noticed with the Nigerian economy. If you remember in those days, even Benin Republic had GSM before Nigeria. But today, Nigeria is talking about the hub of technology and how to really move on. So, again, technology is now an enabler.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to urge the MSMEs not to be scared. They should just embrace technology and see how they can use it to drive their business. You go across the nation today, you talk about technology hub, you talk about innovation hub, you talk about ICT hubs. Okay, so for the MSME, they should just look for how to, again, Nigeria is doing fantastically well when it comes to selling online today. In those days it wasn't there, but that enabling environment is now being created. The earlier they realize how this works, and I mean, our young people, that's where they thrive.
Yeah.
That's why you see that today the young people really want the country to move forward.
Exactly.
So it's for us to just be able to see how this technology can help us to enable us to drive going forward.
Yeah, I know we'll be talking about tractors as we move on, but I want to recall your mind to a trip we made to, I think, Bauchi.
Okay.
Where we had a meeting with the meat factory in Bauchi.
Okay.
And you were making a case, for us to take over that meat factory. Okay. Then, if the government was willing to sell or to partner with us, so that because you were looking at the transportation of meat,
I mean, transporting the cow itself.
Yes.
The stress and all those ones. Again, yeah. A place like in entrepreneurship, in MSME sector, there is what is called areas of comparative advantage. It's like somebody from Bauchi State now saying that, look, I want to do oil palm.
It's practically impossible.
So now, Bauchi has a comparative advantage, and one particular government built a massive abattoir for meat processing, and today that meat factory is moribund. That same Bauchi you talk about now had the company they call Steyr. Steyr was producing tractor in those days. Okay, so between Bauchi, Gombe was carved out of Bauchi.
Yes.
And Gombe did something very strategic. They built an airport in between Gombe and Bauchi. So what do you do? Lagos State did a bit of handshake with Kebbi State, and what they call the lake rice.
Yes, and the lake rice.
Of course, when we go down to talk much later, the governor of Lagos says that, look, they consume about 4.5 billion worth of food on a daily basis.
But on a daily, is it a daily basis?
On a daily basis.
Wow.
Because again, we're talking about one of the most populous city
in Lagos. In Nigeria.
In Africa. Okay, so when you talk about 20 million people living in a particular location, so I often say that when you drop food, it will never touch the ground. So what do we do? Why can't Bauchi State have another handshake with Lagos State to be able to say, okay, you slaughter the cow by 1 hour flight, you're dropping the cow in Lagos.
And somebody is speaking it from the airport. So that provides an e-commerce opportunity, for agripreneurs to take advantage of that.
So that's the way we should be thinking right now, rather than see somebody as a Muslim or a Christian, or see somebody as Hausa or as
or Yoruba or Igbo.
No. So when you look at that economic principle of that you have comparative advantage in some certain things, that's the way God just made it. Just when you talk about herbs again, it's the same thing. For every ailment in a particular locality, there is a herb that God has put in that locality
designed to take care of that ailment.
That ailment. Somebody went to. There was a piece of thing I read. Somebody said he went to Australia. He was an ex-military guy, so he needed his assistance. So he went to Australia, and he said that he noticed something. Before he left, his wife was having chronic eye issues. So when he got to Australia, among the Aborigines, he discovered that they were using, Americans, they were using telescope to view sheep that were coming from far distances. And lo and behold, those guys were seeing the sheep with their eyes. So he was now saying, look, there's something about these guys, and it's peculiar to the Aborigines in Australia. So he now later discovered that is the herbs that the herbs that they eat in that environment that gives them good eyesight, and he had to get those herbs to America. Today, he's now providing solution to eye problem. So every locality has a comparative advantage,
and that is what my people say as by way of an adage or a proverb, that the tree or the herb, that is close by for instance, a gallon or something, that they use in covering
the gallon.
If you have an empty gallon, or empty bottle, your bottled water is empty. You can't
have to find the solution from around.
Yes, from around that environment.
Yeah. So that's where we are. So we must see ourselves as unique. As individual, like I always say, there is no community that is useless. There is no human being that is useless. God created you for a particular reason. So, talking to the MSME now, rather than try to, when people run from pillar to post, I said, look, the million that you're looking for is in that environment.
That is what you're looking for in Sokoto is in your Sokoto.
Your Sokoto. So it's just for you to just open your eyes and realize that, and begin to tap into that which God has given you for you to be able to reach your potential that you have dreamed of.
So there's so much potential, so much opportunity in the agri sector, and you mentioned that in Bauchi there was a company that was producing tractors, and today we are hearing that Nigeria is importing about 10,000 units of tractors.
Wow. And averagely, tractor with all its implements now will cost you about 15 to 20 million.
Each.
So you're now saying that an economy wants to buy about 10,000 of that unit. That means you are deploying capital to...
That's capital flight.
So that's where
And we are still having a lot of problems with Forex.
Forex, Ajaokuta still. When it comes to talking about mechanization now and automation, it's
industrialization.
It cannot come from outside, because again, look at the steel. This thing. If you have to bring this steel, look at when Dangote built the refinery. If they tell the amount of steel that was sunk into that place, it was a wow experience. So Ajaokuta has to get working. You have to revive the Oshogbo steel. You have to revive the tractor. We should be able to get the steel to be able to do that technology here for us to be able to, rather than all the time looking out. I mean, we had a minister then who was saying that he was going to import grass from Brazil.
From Brazil.
So here we are now. Another minister is saying that he wants to import 10,000 units.
But how do you, because from all indication now, as we speak, there is no blueprint, no document that we can access from the government that tells us that, okay, this is the plan we have, to revive this steel mill industry in the country.
Yeah, I mean, of course, again, Russia was to help us.
Yes.
I don't always believe that anybody can help you. Russia wanted to help itself, and now they are immersed in serious crisis. Just like you mentioned, blueprints, plans are very, very... In those days, we used to have long-term, short-term plan, medium-term plan, then long-term plan. And we have had situation where we had government that had stayed for 16 years. And they were saying that they were going to stay for 50 years. So, I mean, if they had a program for 50 years, at least another government can copy
that
program. So, it's part of the challenge that we're having. We're good at planning, but it's implementation that is even the challenge.
The challenge.
How do we now implement that which we have said that we're going to do? So it's a major challenge. 10,000 units of tractors at about 15 million.
Wow. That's in trillions.
You are going to develop another
mass country.
And the beauty, I mean, and the scenario I often paint is that, look, if we are not producing, there is no way we can test. Everything about us is unique. So, I mean, like, if you have there was a time they recalled, was it Toyota, a particular brand of Toyota. They could afford to recall because they are the one manufacturing.
Yes.
But they never recall anything in Nigeria or even in Africa because we are not, they looked at us as a dumping ground.
And that speaks to the issue I overheard over some time now. Somebody talking about the fact that he went for a business school. I think it was whether it's Columbia Business School or something, and the founder was taking them through a particular course, and he asked all through the 2 months or thereabout that he has been taking that course, there have not been any case study that have to do with Africa. And he asked the gentleman, the founder of the organization that was taking them through that class, and he told, according to him, he told him that Africa does not have an economy. And when he tried to interject or to make a point, to argue a point, the man asked him and said, how many companies, international companies or international multilateral agencies
that are in Nigeria
that have
in Africa
a plan for Africa?
Okay.
That, for instance, if you're talking about cars now, because we're talking about factory now, there are specifications for Asia.
Yeah.
There are specifications for Europe. There are specifications for America. He said, have you ever seen a specification for Africa?
Africa is a dumping ground. I don't know who did that to us. It's regarded as a dumping ground, and by ourselves we go and use equipment from Europe. Equipment that they have used and they have dumped. That's what they eventually bring to us, and when they bring it to us, we're happy. That look, we have. I just bought. They call it Belgium.
Belgium, yes.
I just bought the Belgium card,
and sometimes they call it new. New Belgium.
Celebrating with your friends, throwing drinks. That look, I bought the Belgium car. So if we become manufacturing, then we will have room for what is called testing. Let's assume a brand new tractor was developed now here in Nigeria. They will give it to the farmer. Go and test it. Let us see the functionality. Let us see the capacity.
Looking at the soil texture of that.
You understand what I'm saying now? But now, by ourselves, we take our money in trillions to go and buy what will not work. I've been in a major tractor scheme in this country.
Looking at even the value chain.
Yes. So I was in this thing. They brought in different varieties of tractors, but I knew that there was going to be a problem. I acquired some of them. And lo and behold, today, I don't want to use names this time around, one of the tractor I bought is seriously overheating. And the main supplier has gone back to his country. They say if you put a call across to him now to say, okay, a tractor is overheating, we need a particular spare part, it will take him 3 days to respond. Ordinarily, that kind of person should be in jail, because he has made you to spend your money to buy an item that he knew he wasn't going to service at the end of the day. So the same mistake, minister is going back to go and buy 10,000 units of tractors with taxpayers' money.
And if you look at, because obviously if we now say, okay, let us be a bit more pragmatic in terms of analyzing this very issue of importing these tractors into the country. Just like the example you gave, it was a tractor program, and that means that it was more like maybe 50 tractors were imported at once.
No, so many.
Okay, over 100.
Yes.
Okay, over 100 tractors.
Yeah.
Now, what was the plan? What was the negotiation to say, okay, we are importing 100 tractors?
Yeah.
What are we now talking about? Technology transfer.
Yeah. And that's where what you said became relevant, to say what is the long-term plan.
Yes.
To say, okay, in the next 50 years, we're going to need this amount of tractors. On an annual basis, we'll need 10,000 units of tractors to add to what we have. So what a right-thinking person will be doing to say, okay, look, for us to have your tractors, you must come and set up here. Okay? So as to create employment, so that forex will be
reduced.
I mean, if you're buying 10,000 units of tractor for anybody, the person should be ready to come and set up. And you have that to say in the next 10 years, you're going to be buying 10,000 units.
In the next 5-10 years.
So why would the man come and set up? But today, what do you have? You have people relocating. Volkswagen, in those days.
Yes.
Peugeot in those days. Dangote now has acquired the Peugeot in Kaduna. And it's just there doing nothing. So, I mean, we're praying, even though you say we should act rather than pray.
Yes, because for me, I think I was talking to somebody the other day, and this morning I was like, yes, I believe in prayers, okay, but the world has been configured to the extent that we have been sent to take certain responsibilities. We have been sent to lead.
Yeah. That's why people will say that God gave us a head with a brain inside.
Yes.
So that we will worry him less. Okay. So let's probably talk about the Federal Land Revenue Services. They are saying that they have extended the deadline for submission of the taxes and annual returns to August. Okay. So what do you have to say?
Well, I was thinking that, at the point they were like, it should be on, from January to December, timeline. Yeah. To give everybody that.
I think they gave up to March.
Okay.
Every year for you to render your return as at December. Okay. So and they begin to charge you penalties based on defaults. And now they say they are extending to August. Again, for me, it's for more money to come in for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that is one thing that for me, our regulatory agencies need to do better. If we're talking about ease of doing business, if we're talking about, like you pointed out, from the start, that MSMEs are the engine room for every economic growth in any part of the world, and including Nigeria, our regulatory agencies need to begin to see it from that perspective. Perspective of how can we make things a bit more easy for MSMEs.
I understand you quite well. Like, again, when we teach entrepreneurship, we mentioned that the fact that the MSME starts from being micro, small, medium enterprises. Okay, so if you actually want more taxes, why don't you grow the micro companies to become small? The small ones to become medium, and the medium to become large. So as you must be able to put back even an issue like Federal Land Revenue Service to see what are the problems of the micro sector. I mean, if they grow the micro to small, there will be any more.
Yes. When they talk about expanding the tax net, I begin to wonder. You are just sitting there waiting for me to increase my revenue projections, then for you to catch up with me. But you are not trying to come to meet me at the level where I am, currently, to say, okay, how do we support you so that you can get to that tax net?
Yeah. So the Federal Inland Revenue Service today must become much more proactive. Rather than try to extend it is good, but again, what you are just doing is postponing the evil day.
Yes.
So what you should do, try to avoid what they call double taxation. Today, an average MSME, the local government people will come after you, the state will come after you, then the federal
will come after you.
And sometimes they end up collecting the same type of tax, and the MSME become frustrated. But if you come in by way of corporate social responsibility to say, okay, what are the challenge of the MSMEs? Be able to try to solve it for them to have the ease of business that you preach, that you believe in, that you talk about. I mean, if I'm making money, why would I pay tax? I had a partner in UK at a point in time. He was saying, look, Godfrey, my company is fully registered in UK, and I pay 30% of my profit as tax. So he's happy. The UK government is happy because they gave him the enabling environment for him to be able to do his business and be able to make money. I mean, if you make money, of course, why won't you pay tax? But he's so stiff doing our business.
For me, I think it boils down to what we have been saying, which is these guys need to come out of their comfort zone. If we must change this country, if we must mobilize MSMEs to be part of the solution of the problems of this country, these guys, last week we talked about CAC.
Yeah.
CAC says, okay, we have automated the process of incorporating your business, filing your returns and all that. But when you go to that platform, you start and you get to a point and you are stuck.
Yeah. I'm talking about the kind of network that you're saying.
Beyond even the network, the platform itself does not provide you enough space
to be able to
maneuver and upload your documents, for instance, and consummate that very process. It will get to a point that will require you to come to their office. So what is automation all about?
Very funny.
And that the same thing applies to even the FIRS. Why should you expect me that I'm the one paying my tax in a business environment that lacks every form of support? You talked about the internet network now, internet connectivity, speed is still very, very
a challenge.
Okay, you talk about power. Power is still a problem. Now this business is running on inverter, on solar, and and on diesel. Everything on your own. Okay, now you still want me, you that is even a service, you are not basically an infrastructure, so to speak. Now you are a service-based regulatory agency. You cannot also operationalize your process so that it can be comforting to me.
That's the ease of doing the business now.
Yes.
I want to be able to pay my tax. I should be able to log into your website, check how much I'm owing, and make the payment, and get receipts at the end of the day. So we're speaking to you today, Federal Inland Revenue Services. You need to become much more proactive. For you to get more tax, you need to get involved in the development of these MSMEs. And MSME, in case you do not know, is the micro, small, medium enterprises. Try to identify what their challenges are, and by way of corporate social responsibility, you can come in to solve some of these problems. And once you do that, they become at ease to be able to pay those tax willingly and at their own terms going forward.
Like you said, a starting point by way of free, can create an academy that can take MSMEs through some of those teaching problems that they have in their business development process. You can partner with organizations such as ours, G-Consult International Services, to be able to help you to reach out. We have, for instance, partnered with the Ministry of
Humanitarian Affairs
and Natural Disaster, Central Bank of Nigeria, and in total we've trained over 20 to 30,000 MSMEs.
It's going to 40,000.
So we are a veritable partner for you, FIRS, to see how you can reach out to this number of MSMEs and begin to provide them support. When you talk about expanding the tax net, where you have 40,000 MSMEs paying tax in Nigeria, I think the story is going to be changed.
I mean, the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics has actually brought out the statistics that we have well over 40 million
MSMEs.
So, I mean, create that database on your FRS, support them, then to collect tax.
They collect tax.
Then you will be able to meet your targets if that's the issue.
So we are waiting for you, FRS. if you want to make some progress in that direction, we are available to work with you.
So maybe this is the time we talk about Lagos proper now. Okay, Lagos is still the commercial
nerve center,
the commercial capital of Nigeria. You know, when a lot of my friends, start relocating to Lagos, I wonder that maybe very soon we'll have to move to Lagos. Okay, so government is saying that 4.5 billion naira is spent on
what of food
is on a daily basis,
consumed on a daily basis in Lagos. That is massive.
So everybody should be trying to see how they can connect over 20 million persons. So whatever food that you drop, because the beauty is that whether you like it or not, if you fast for 40 days, 40 nights, you are going to use food to break it. So food is
it's constant.
It's a critical component. And now 4.5 billion. Man, that's an economy to envy.
Yes, it is. And for me, I think what is even striking me as very graceful is the fact that the Lagos State government has been able to come up with this data. Because when you talk about investment and investors, you need data to showcase. So that investors will be able to see, okay, what is the volume of transaction that is possible in this sector, in that space, and they'll be able to make a decision based on that. And so I'm beginning to envy Lagos, as against the analysis we did last week about the fact that they were graded very poorly in terms of governance. Lagos State.
Lagos has had progressive governance, good governance, and again, if there is going to be a drop, it will be noticed, and that's why you see the governor is coming out now to say, look, we know what the problem. Is a potential economy, and Lagos being close to Benin Republic, and that's why you discovered that smuggling was
it's pervasive kind of.
It's very pervasive. But today you have a situation in this country where you ban an item and you find it in the supermarket. I mean, that irony is still cracking my head.
No, it's not a rocket science. But like you said the other time, we have rocket scientists. So even if it's a rocket science, we have rocket scientists to take care of the matter. So for me, I think the issue is about the management of our boundaries. Okay, it's about management of our boundaries. We have not been able to even come up with a plan or a policy that provides state governors the right to kind of mark out those boundaries and secure them.
Well, it's a major challenge, and again, if we look inwards, really, I will tell you that our solution is inward. I mean, they're telling you about the food market in Lagos today that is about 4.5 billion on a daily basis. Okay, I mean, the economy in Lagos is like more than economy in some certain countries.
Of course.
Even in Africa.
Of course.
Even in Europe.
The economy, the budget of Lagos is equivalent to the budget of Rwanda. No. As a fact, the budget of Lagos is equal to that of Rwanda. Okay, so but my biggest challenge is to call on the government now at this point, to begin to also give consideration to establishing a border patrol force, as it were, because if we're talking about Lagos State alone consuming food worth of 4.5 billion on a day, I mean in a day, you spread that across the country. Now we understand the size of Lagos, it's not as the same as we have in other parts of the country, but let's do 1 billion, for instance, for each state. 1 billion food consumption for each state across the country. And so we have 36 states, so 35 states at 35 billion plus 4.5 billion. That's over 50 billion or 40 billion food consumption in a day.
On food alone.
On food alone. So how much of those food are we producing? What is the quantity of food that we produce in a day?
I think the bottom line that we have the capacity to produce. What we are doing now is the farmers just wait for the rain to fall and they just go to farm. So, but for us to be able to actually be able to feed ourselves very well, we must be able to upskill whatever is currently being done now.
So we need to move from subsistence form of farming.
Yes, to mechanization. I mean, the farmers in America, if they sneeze today, the American government is panicking because again, you have one farmer that is doing about 10,000 hectares using machines, using drones. I mean, use drone now to even fly across your farm to see
spread pests, to manage the farm.
See areas that are doing well and areas that are not doing well in the farm. So we just have to wake up. I mean, when we're growing up at the elementary stage of our life, we're being told that sometimes America take food to go and destroy because again they want to stabilize the
economy,
the cost of food by itself. So today, Lagos State is saying, look, we are spending 4.5 billion, and we have done the analysis to say, okay, if let's assume every other state is doing
1 billion,
1 billion, then we have an economy on food alone that is over 50 billion naira. So it's something that we need to really focus on to see how can we we go back again to areas of comparative advantage. Who are the guys that are doing rice? Who are the guys that are doing beans?
You talk about lake rice earlier on.
Yes, that's lake rice was a combination of a relationship between Lagos State government and Kebbi. So you can have a handshake between Taraba, for example. Taraba is a major hub when it comes to livestock. Okay, they have this green area of land, but again, you talk about the problem of insurgency now. Okay, I mean, I just came back from Edo State, and I met somebody who we met in a village who came from Port Harcourt. He said, look, when you are driving in Nigeria, you drive with your heart in your mouth because you don't know what to expect the next minute. So the farmers cannot even just go to the farm again. So, and again, we need to begin to think about how to standardize our food right now for it to be competitive going forward.
I think the major thing is what you just said, which is farmers can't even go to the farm anymore. So we have to, I don't know if this government is looking at it from that perspective, that food security has become a national security problem. So for instance, now we're talking about, farmers not being able to go to the farm. And we talked about the fact that in America, farmers can use drone to spread pesticides, herbicides, to look at which aspect of their farm that are doing well. But here, our farmers can't even go to the farm.
I mean,
so how have we been able to apply also technology to support farmers, to protect farmers, so they can go to the farm? What is the quantity of produce, looking at now, because this insecurity started over like 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Now, what is going to be the impact of, the reduction in the quantity of food that our farmers were producing 5 years ago, and what they are going to be producing now that they're not able to go to the farm, and what's going to be the impact on the economy and on this food consumption?
It's being proactive on every side. The government also needs to be proactive because, again, there was a program they called Operation Feed the Nation, where everybody was encouraged to
own a garden.
Yes. Do you understand what I'm saying now? And like, you can grow your pepper, you can grow the tomatoes you need at the comfort of your home. But even the homes are not even secure now.
They're not even secure now. You are sleeping at night and you are like, God, what's going to happen by 2 a.m., by 4 a.m.? You can't even sleep.
So it's a major challenge. So we just need to, I mean, the Ukraine-Russian war is also impacting on food production because, again, things like wheat was being produced like economy like Russia, which again, Ukraine, sorry. And wheat is a major commodity that drives bread and drive flour milling and all these other processes. So in the next 1 year, there may be serious food shortage.
Yeah, because already I think there have been some form of moves, because as it were, Russia is hijacking some of the Ukrainian wheat, in areas that they have captured, as it were, and they have come out and said, okay, this wheat is going to be exported to friendly countries, friendly nations, and Ukraine is on one side asking Turkey to impound the ships, taking those wheats, those Russian ships, taking those wheat, so, but I think the bottom line is that there is a food crisis in our hands.
That is imminent.
That is imminent.
So the government just have to wake up to say, look, this is insecurity. Look for a way to fight it. Then involve other more proactive ways to food production, which include like gardening, doing backyard farming. I mean, Lagos is very innovative. I know in those days, even before the insecurity wahala, they involve using GP tanks, using tent material to produce fish. You know, Lagos today, the way Nigeria is structured is such that the Ogun economy, agric economy, fits the Lagos economy, because again, Lagos has a major problem of lack of adequate space for them to actually exhibit what they want to do. But you now have an Ibadan that is close to Lagos that is now doing very well in poultry and some other sector. I mean, you can see Ibadan is servicing Abuja market now, and you can see that Kano is doing quite well in his own right, and they are servicing their own side of the economy. So there has to be like a balance. So we all need to put our thinking cap to see how we can sustain, so that we don't fall, we don't keep having issues and problems. We try to see production and try to see how we can move forward.
But I want us to, you know, so that our audience and maybe the government, as they also, you know, watch this video, they also begin to, you know, hear some of these things. What could be the potential result of a food crisis?
Yeah, it's like insecurity will increase because again.
So what we are experiencing now, we receive a double-edged sword.
Yes, because insecurity will increase because again, once you have no food to eat, you have to look for food, and in looking for food, you can do anything to get food at the end of the day. Of course, the lack of food is also driving inflation now. I mean, inflation is going to be about 19%, and what that means is that every other thing will be affected. Look at today. There is the fuel wahala. On Sunday, I had to queue for like 4 hours before I was able to get.
I had to buy black market today.
So all these things have spiral effects on
the economy,
on each other. So the earlier, as they are rearing their head, the earlier you begin to tackle them, the better. Because this is the wet season now. We're in the middle of the wet season now. So this is where the height of production is done right now in the Nigerian economy. So if you don't get people to go to the farm to go, and then by October, the food crisis will become very imminent.
Visible.
It will start by a way of price shooting up and people not being able to afford again. Then inflation will set in. And at the end of the day, you have little money chasing. You have
very high number of very little, you know, plenty money chasing very few goods.
So that will lead to spiral inflation at the end of the day.
Hyperinflation.
That will become a major headache for us.
I'm also troubled with the fact that, you know, you talked about, you know, the fact that Lagos had an handshake with Kebbi, you know. But if you look through our economy, you look through the country, you hardly see states having this kind of collaboration, this kind of partnership, you know, in any sector of the economy.
Yeah, so
everybody seems to be standing alone.
No, there are so many collaborations that need to be cut. I mean, like I said, Ondo State, Edo State, Kogi State, that region, they are major cassava producers. Okay? And what's the byproduct of cassava? You have gari, you have, of course, ethanol. Ethanol is a major enabler in the fuel economy.
Yes.
So if you know where your advantage is, we need to just industrialize. We need to mechanize, we need to industrialize. So that if you have today, you have large hectare of cassava farm. Because if you are setting up an ethanol plant, for example, you just have to have a large amount of cassava to be able to feed into that sector at the end of the day. So states must begin to look at their advantages and begin to have handshake across board. Taraba, for example, livestock, Bauchi, livestock, Gombe, livestock. I mean, of course, beans in Borno State, the red beans. You know, Lagos is a high consumer of beans.
Yes.
They just love beans. So, and there was that handshake. I mean, there was a particular institution that was even trying to buy some farmland in Borno State. But insurgency will not allow that to happen today. So, states must check what do they have advantage on to be able to have a handshake with those who do not have. And at the end of the day, through mechanization, through automation, through technology, will now be able to deploy properly to be able to make food available for our people going forward. And that takes us to the realm of cryptocurrency right now.
Crypto cataclysm.
So you are quite, knowledgeable in this area. There was a massive fall in Bitcoin recently.
Yes.
Okay. And Elon Musk is still holding on to the Dogecoin. And again, what do you have to say concerning the cryptocurrency?
Yes.
Vis-a-vis the Bitcoin?
Yeah, crypto is kind of the baby of Bitcoin.
Okay.
Or rather, Bitcoin is an offshoot of cryptocurrency, of crypto. Crypto is like a program
the technology is the crypto.
Yes, the technology is the crypto. So all these are the offshoots.
Currency is the
technology. For me, I think one distinction that has not been made is what we're just trying to talk about now, which is the crypto technology itself. You talk about the blockchain technology.
Okay.
These are products and programs that can really drive the new economy, the digital economy. Okay, but it has somehow been reduced to cryptocurrency. So for the uninitiated now, when they talk about crypto, you just talk about the currency. You talk about the Bitcoin. But I would like our audience to have that understanding that crypto is a larger platform. Than just the currency. But we're talking about the
Bitcoin.
The Bitcoin now. Yeah. For a long time, people have actually canvassed, marketed me to come and invest in Bitcoin and the currency, but I refused. And it's simple. I looked at the industry, the cryptocurrency and the Bitcoin market, for instance, and it is very clear that most criminals using this platform, a lot of illicit funds pass through these platforms. Okay, and I know that you cannot have a platform like that in a world that is run by regulations. Okay, that is governed by regulatory agencies, multilateral agencies, and you're just running a wall, because crypto and Bitcoin were just like running a wall of the economy, whereby, and that is where you see the kind of amount of profit. When we teach entrepreneurship, we talk about, we use the story of the MMM, for instance.
Okay.
And we talk about the fact that, why should somebody promise you a profit within a short period of time
that he himself cannot generate?
That he himself cannot generate. And we try to look at what are the causes and effects of why those promises are being made and why they fail. And we say that it failed because most of them don't really have a product. So if you take that analysis to the Bitcoin world, you also discover that Bitcoin, sometimes you can have 150% profit within a very short period of time. Now, why is it working like that? It's because there is no regulation.
Yeah, people talk about self-regulation, and they talk about the fact that is a currency for the future. But again, they will give you assurance that there will never be massive fall, just like you have experienced now. It's occurring to everybody now that, look, this thing is not infallible
at all.
Okay, so anything can happen. So indeed, for every MSME you are investing, you must invest with your eyes
wide open,
because again, anything can happen. So they said this is currency for the future, but again, there was a massive fall. A lot of people lost a lot of money. Lost money. Again, people always look for the easy way out. To say, look, I just want to keep my money and rest, and it doesn't. It doesn't work that way. So you just have to put eye on some of these things, and we hope that again it will rise again. But I think the lesson is sending to us is that we should be mindful that, look, nothing is infallible.
I think because we are talking to MSMEs now. I think one of the best advice you can get as far as investing in Bitcoin or crypto is concerned is invest money that that you can lose.
I like that.
Okay, that when you lose those money, you are not going to. It's not going to affect your finances in a very big form, in a very big way.
Segmentize your investments.
Yes.
Don't put all your investment in one basket.
Yes.
Otherwise, if it crashes, it can affect your heart.
Because the truth of the matter is that, yes, crypto is a platform for the future. Blockchain, Bitcoin, they are all platforms for the future. But until this regulation comes into force, they are a very, very volatile market. It's going to continue to be a volatile market, and that is why we advise you invest monies that you know that it's not part of your financial plan in the short term.
That's good. Okay, so today another major offset has happened in the financial world. This is the second time that a small bank is acquiring a big bank. It happened in those days of STB, Standard Trust Bank. That's in the days of Tony Lumelu, acquiring a UBA. So today we have a Titan Bank acquiring a Union Bank.
Yes.
Union Bank is among what we call the big four. Okay, in those days, if you go to averagely any state capital now, you probably find Bank Road. The banks you must find in Bank
Union
Road,
Bank.
You must find Union Bank there. You must find UBA there. You must find First Bank there, and of course AfriBank. Those are the four banks that you must find on that street, and that shows you that look, a 2-year-old bank is acquiring a bank that is over 100 years. That's the scenario that we have today. So again, we want to assure MSME that their funds are safe,
intact,
because again the CBN has been able to put up a proactive regulation such that no bank will hardly be able to fail again in Nigeria. And again, talking to the MSME, you should have heart. I always say jokingly that it takes determination for Okada to overtake a trailer.
Yes, very high determination.
So today, see it from the point of merger and acquisition, which is an area that you love so much.
Yes.
Okay. So start small, but have the mindset that you can merge. Have the mindset that you can acquire. It is very possible. The second time it's happening in the banking sector now. I mean, in those days, a small bank, a Standard Trust Bank, STB, in those days, got up from nowhere and said they were going to buy UB, and it was like, it was a joke, and it happened. But I think what happened was that they retained the name UBA.
Yeah.
That's why you still see.
But they changed the management.
Okay, they changed management. So of course, Union Bank, as at June 29th, they have effected the change of management of
Titan Trust has effected the change of management.
So whatever name they are going to adopt is what I don't really know.
I think they are going to adopt Titan.
Okay.
I think they are going to adopt Titan.
So that means there will be a change of name, which of course, CBN also now welcome. So for those of you who are customers of Union Bank, very soon you will not see Union Bank again.
Yes. I think it all boils down to the two generations that we have now. We have the old generation and we have the new generation. We have the
Generation Z and
yes. I think basically we are looking at the traditional versus the digital now. Okay, the digital age, traditional age and the digital age. And so Titan represents the new age, and what does that say? As a business, you need to begin to align your business processes, your business operations with technology. You need to begin to align technology with what you do.
Because again, you see quite a number of banks today, so-called microfinance bank. They are fully digitized.
Automated, yes.
And you can hardly find a branch anywhere. Okay, so the customers are there and they are opening an account without seeing a physical
person.
So automation is where to go. And again, it got to a point where we had a new generation bank. In those days we had the big four. Then the new generation banks came on board. And clearly, I remember a central bank went to go and audit a particular new generation bank. So the kind of computers that they were using. So the staff had to go back to say, look, the people we are meant to audit.
We have to upgrade.
So that's what we're having today. Now, you can open an account without having to go to the bank. You can take a loan without having to go to the bank. So when in those days, a particular new generation bank had ATM, ATM machines on the entire street.
Yeah.
I was saying that, look, this thing will fail. I mean, why will you do that? People are leaving structured business now to online, to physical. I mean, from physical to online.
Yes.
So that's the level where we need to actually go to now, and that's what Tata is trying to demonstrate here. And all the other remaining big four, First Bank had to rebrand several times.
Yes.
Is
he struggling to find his footing
so the,
in the digital world?
Elephants, they had to remove the head to say, look,
you are too big.
It's too big.
But again, I think that also speaks to what you mentioned, which is merger and acquisition. So for you, as an MSME, you need to come to the point that you begin to build your business with the mindset that you can sell that business and build another one. Okay, now beyond even you selling, you can also look at, you used to talk about comparative advantage. You can look at, your competitor, a business that is within your industry that you can also partner with, you can merge with, for the purpose of expounding your reach, expanding your capabilities, to be able to acquire, more market share.
So see the market beyond your locality.
Yes.
So I think what they say is like produce local and sell global. So once you start production, start thinking about, look, how do I send to the man in Ghana? That will even help you to standardize your goods. To say, look, it's not my local community alone that will buy this goods. So the acquisition of because this one was a clear case of acquisition.
Yes,
yeah.
It's a clear
so
case
it wasn't
acquisition.
A case of merger. So it is possible in the MSME world, just like you have said. Open your eyes, think wide, act local. Think global. So I think we'll round up by looking at the extension that INEC granted again.
Yeah, we talked about the issue of food crisis being very imminent, and if we don't handle that very well, I think the election will even fall within that period of so, but we are hoping that the government will do the needful. But again, I think INEC has no choice. They had no choice but to to extend.
Because people are even wondering, why do you have to put a deadline on people become 18 every day?
Yes.
So why do you have to now say, look, you stop registration at the it should be continuous. So what we now do is about the production of PVC, and it's not rocket science.
Even if there's a rocket scientist.
So even if it's rocket science, then there's a rocket scientist that should be able to build the rocket.
Exactly.
So for me, registration should be continuous. Then improve on the technology to produce the cards with all the security features on a daily basis. Okay, so people are now willing and they want to.
Yes, they want to participate.
They want to participate.
And we're talking about participatory democracy.
It should leave it open permanently if it's possible. But again, we know that they have constraints. We know that they have financial issues and all these things. And again, they talked about the fact that look. There's a limit if they continue registration. Those people that they are registering may not also be able to vote during the next election. So I think they are quite communicative now. Even though I listened to somebody say he doesn't believe in the INEC again because he said they are not truly independent. So INEC, you need to wake up to actually answer to your name, being independent, conduct an election that is transparent, that is free and fair. Once you are able to do that, I assure you that look, the people are ready now to follow, to engage the process. And if we produce a good leader, it's for the betterment of all of us at the end of the day. So if we produce a bad leader, it's going to affect you yourself, INEC.
Of course.
Because they will not release money to you as at when you need
it. They will even sack all your commissioners, destroy your templates and everything. So
let's just do the right thing.
A good leadership is what everybody needs. And INEC is in the forefront, the first line of defense in helping us to achieve that. So, I think for me, we can commend INEC to a certain degree. When somebody is trying, you commend them, they will be able to do better.
Yeah, that's true.
So we commend INEC for what they are doing. They are blazing the trail in several fronts, and so we want to ask you that you continue to do more. So on that note, we will call it a day in G-Connect today, and we hope that we've been able to enlighten you and educate you on some trending issues that has to do with the economy, the small business, micro business, medium business, and even the big businesses, as well as other political and social issues. See you again in next edition of G-Connect today.
Thank you very much.